Welcome everyone to SaaScast, the podcast that talks you through the steps you need to future-proof your product, whether that's building the ultimate marketing team or taking your products global. Our guests will help you grow, scale up, and work smarter.
Hi, Vishal. Thanks so much for joining us on SaaScast today.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me here today. And I'm really excited to, just speak to you and take this conversation. How are you, by the way?
I'm very good, thanks. Yeah, all good. Ready to get started, certainly, to dive into this very popular topic at the moment, customer success. It seems to be the kind of thing that lots of people seems to be growing faster than any kind of function within SaaS that I'm seeing. We're seeing more interest in it every day, all the time, from what I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we can get started with that. Customer success, actually, that has become a kind of, like a soul for any SaaS based organization right now. Not just SaaS, SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So, this has completely been rooted as a heart that is going to be, a revenue maintainer in an organization. So I think, it's a superb topic to, just begin with, and let's see, what we can spread to the people in the domain.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let's just start with you then. I'm sure the audience would just love you to just introduce yourself, and just tell us a little bit about your experience in this sector and what's led you to your current position now.
Absolutely. So for your audience, so my name is Vishal Arya, and I come up with a 10 year of industry experience right now. And I have started my career with one of the company that claimed to be the most customer centric company in the world. So since I am a customer success professional right now, so it's pretty evident to understand where this worm of being a customer centric person just started from me for me. And then I just stumbled upon this term called SaaS with one of my friend, and then I made a few switch, and then I started working, with early stage startups in the SaaS domain itself. I was just thrown on the battle to just fight without any process or anything. That's where I learned a lot of things, and gradually then I got opportunities to build everything from scratch in customer success. So currently, I work in Docsumo as a principal customer success manager for the CS process enablement and strategy. That is what I take care of, entirely. The tenure, of course, have been completely on the customer centric, side, where I have been maintaining the relationships, working more on the more as a problem solver, I would say. Having so many collaborations, making things from scratch, streamlining the process entirely. One of the things was in 2022, I was also one of the top 100 CS strategists in the world. So that was one major achievement that I could get. And in the two SaaS-based organization, I have built the entire CS process from scratch to what it has taken up, now in the operation.
Yeah, it's so impressive. Yeah, your credentials. Yeah, I mean, I want to kind of really break it down then, because these are terms that are kind of thrown around a lot in SaaS, are things like customer centric. But
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to talk about that, because I think that really gets to the heart of how SaaS companies sort of stay competitive now. In line with like the demands of customer needs now. So can you just explain then what customer centric means to you and how you kind of put that in action?
Yeah. So see, customer centric means that anything for the customer. So when I say anything for the customer, it's not beyond the capacity or capability that I'm trying to focus on. What I'm trying to explain here is your persona to understand the customer problem, being a problem solver, and trying to make the life of your customer as easy as you can. That's where a lot of things and metrics come into picture. So if I talk about the older times, earlier it used to be a very reactive kind of model. It was before 1990s, I would say, that decade, it was more of a very reactive kind of approach. And in 1990, the things started changing with John Luongo, John Luongo, the CEO of the Vantive Group, who coined this term of customer success with Mary Alexander. So this was more on a proactive ground that was required for the customer. Uh, customer centricity that actually means moving more towards the approach of solving the problem for the customer, maintaining a good relationship with the customer, and that's where anything that you see is that goes in the favor of a customer.
Yeah.
So that's where, any steps that goes, and then this breaks down into a lot of steps, lot of processes in terms of streamlining. It goes through a lot of data driven insights. It goes through a lot of strategic focused approach to build that, having a lot of technical integrations, and most importantly, building a culture inside your organization itself, where everybody understands the customer problem, and they try to keep themselves always in the customer's shoe to understand what is the business impact of it on the customer side,
Hmm.
and then solving a problem and providing a resolution to it.
For sure. Yeah. So I think you touched on a little bit there, like what I wanted to go into a little bit, which is kind of like the evolution of customer success. And
Yeah.
I think you started to touch on it a little bit there, like it kind of evolved from customer support, right? So
Yeah.
are we talking about SaaS going from being kind of more reactive, customer support in SaaS being more reactive to being more kind of proactive? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, partially in terms of that only. But so there is a story, I just mentioned about John Luongo, Mary Alexander. So let me explain you from the very conventional ground from where everything had just started. So in 1990s, when this thing happened with John Luongo, when he accidentally stumbled just upon a customer where he could see a proper utilization of a company application. So he got, completely impressed with this idea of, having a kind of very customer centric, proactive approach to a customer. And that's where he brought it back to his organization, which is called Venti. And that's where the term customer success was coined. And then he hired Mary Alexander, who was the creator of this new approach, to lead the Vantage service group. And it was in 1996 to 1997, Mary established a new department called customer success and just pioneered the practice of introducing the customer success team to prospective client even before they signed the contract. So now in the current ecosystem, in any SaaS company, when a contract is signed by the sales team, then the customer success team just come into picture. Initially, it was when it started, it was even before signing of the contract. And this strategic, move just marked the significant shift in Ventip's customer engagement strategy, emphasizing the importance of ensuring customer success from very outset of the customer journey. And
Yeah.
one of the biggest, yeah, and then just one of the biggest moment, that came was in the early 2000 when one of the company in the SaaS ecosystem, SaaS model built a CRM that was coming up with a very streamlined approach, a very process oriented, programs to maintain a good relationship with the customer through a very, data driven insight. And that company was Salesforce, who built that Salesforce CRM. So, before that, just it was a more of a reactive thing. Like a customer comes to you with a problem, they reports an issue. It was more of a reactive thing. Okay, I'm just looking into the problems and then just trying to find out a solution for it and just responding back and just leave it. But gradually, over a period of time, over a few decades, people realize that okay, it is very important to always be in touch with your customer, and that's where they significantly, started moving towards more of a customer centric approach with a proactive, approach to move ahead with. So that's where, like, largely these subscription based business model also came into picture, and these, increase the emphasis on customer retention and also the lifetime value. uh, there were a lot of key changes, that contributed to it. The process of just reacting to an email and giving a solution over a thing that was gone completely from there to a data-driven insight. Basically, the integration of a data analytics that completely revolutionized the CS process by providing deeper insights into the customer behavior, enabling a few predictive analytics. Like, for example, you are able to foresee churn these days. You are able to see when there could be an upselling.
Mhm.
Your customer is using the product. You are there to monitor the users. You are there to analyze the patterns of the users. You see a growth in the users. You see a lack in the users. You see it up to the mark. So that's where things got a lot data driven. Then it just narrowed down a complete data points into a strategic environment where you have a thing to focus on. Like you have kind of set a threshold, like above it can be an expansion, below it can be a concern for me. So that's where now you have the figures to focus on. Okay, it's a concern for me or it's an expansion for me, what should be my approach? So that's where you make the strategies. So it becomes more of a strategical focused thing with the data. Then coming up with the technology integration, like development and adoption of the customer success management tool. uh, these have completely streamlined the CS process, improved the efficiency, and enhanced the ability to manage customer relationship at a scale. And of course, from where we started our conversation of having a customer-centric environment and culture in the organization. So business are now more focused on building a customer-centric culture where every department just collaborates to ensure customer success. So
Yeah,
this was the shift,
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, isn't it? I think everyone's realized now
Yeah.
how much it affects the whole organization, isn't it? It's certainly not a nice to have. It's absolutely essential. And I think that like with all of the kind of SaaS offerings that you have out there now, with the global kind of dominance of SaaS, I
Yeah.
think something like customer success with, like you said, like predictive analytics, is more important than ever. You almost have to have like kind of an answer for the customer's problems before they even express it. So
Yeah.
in a way, I think is how it's kind of changed, because now a customer, of course, they can just churn
Yeah.
immediately. Like they just slip out. Or maybe they come on as like a kind of a free user, and then they just within a month that's it, they're gone. Or I think one of the problems a lot of SaaS companies have as well is people signing up for sort of a basic, maybe freemium offering, and then they
Yeah.
just don't do anything, right? They just sit
Yeah.
there. So then that customer, the kind of acquisition cost is there, but the customer isn't providing any value to them whatsoever. That's a big problem as well, isn't it? So I imagine customer success, one of the big things that they can do is they can, like you said, now they can spot when a customer isn't engaged, right? And then it's then their job, right, to help them find the value of the product.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And also, in terms of the value delivery, the things have changed from a conventional time to the current model. Like, just you mentioned about, in terms of acquisition of the customers, sometimes it happens for a pay as you go model or for a payment model, they just sign up and they are just lost. So,
Yeah.
that's where, you have a set of SOPs right now. Now you have a set of steps, you have to take, or move ahead with, I would say. For example, just a sign up has happened, in the first day, what are the series of the steps that you're going to take? Maybe a kind of very email based approach would be there, but your second milestone would be maybe from the second day or maybe on the third day, when you would like to have a personal conversation with the customer to understand what it is. And I'm not saying that every customer is a closer there. Of course, it could just be a casual visit to the product just to understand what the thing is all about and everything. But there could be a potential lead as well that can actually be converted to be a closer there. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what customer success along with sales has completely streamlined the process.
Sure, yeah. So I'm wondering then, like when a customer first, I don't know, signs up, whatever, they just get through, they just for whatever plan they're going for. What kind of data do you collect right off the bat? Because I imagine it becomes easier to collect to sort of have insights into a customer when they've sort of been there for a while, and you can spot their kind of their activity, right? You can monitor their activity, monitor where they're engaged, where they're not. So initially, what kind of analytics would you be looking at when a customer, like what kind of information do you gather from them when they first sign up?
Yeah. So see, when a customer signs up on your product, it just become a lead for you. Now it could be a junk lead, it could be a potential lead for you. Now, how you segment it is completely based on a few metrics that you derive out from the backend.
Yeah.
One of the important thing here to note is that what is the time he is spending on the product after signing up. If
Mm.
it is just for a casual visit, just to understand the product, what kind of technology it is into, or what is the kind of problem that they are trying to solve. So
Mhm.
it would be there for a very short time, and will never be repeated the very next day in a
Right.
very generic approach, I would say. But if it is a potential customer, he is looking forward to look for a solution, then there would be a lot of exploration on your product.
Yeah.
In terms of the features, they would be clicking on a few features. They would be trying to understand it. And that's where on the company side also we get to understand, because usually most of the SaaS model now is based is signed up on a uh, specific email domain itself, right? So you need to have your company domain and everything. So that's where they also do a background search of understanding, okay, if this customer, if this company is a good fit for the product, or they qualifies to be one of the potential lead for us or not. On the same grounds, from the product interactions that they receive from the backend of wherever they have clicked, what all things they tried uploading on the product, what things they tried driving out of the product to get. So those things matter, and that's where they make a call that, okay, this is a potential lead for them or not. And that's where their another set of action items begin, where they start approaching the customers, write a very personalized email, try to get on a call with them to understand what is the problem that they're trying to solve. They're looking for a solution in the market, and that's where, like, usually any company just go ahead and help them out, just get a solution.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So, you've said then that you've basically been responsible for building out the whole customer success function
Yeah.
of a company. So I just want to know then, like, where do you start with this? Because this just seems like it's, a massive, massive task. What are the first steps of putting this in place?
See, building a complete CS operation from scratch is also based on what product you have or you're dealing with. Now, this could be different in a B2B segment and B2C segment.
Yeah.
B2C segment is more on a client engagement side and more on a support function side, but B2B segment is on a very different level. When you start building everything from scratch, then you start so the first step is like writing up a set of policies that you want to move ahead with the customer you live with. Like things are thrown like a random things on a table, and you have to do everything. So
Mm.
instead of having that kind of approach, just make a kind of rules, like how are you going to initiate the onboarding for a customer, how are you going to maintain the adoption of the customers on the platform, how are you going to track the metrics for the adoption, how are you going to focus on the customer engagement side of things, how are you going to focus on the renewal side of things, how are you going to track the expansion opportunities, like if there is an upsell opportunity, if there is a cross sell opportunity, or if there is a potential churn triggers that you might notice in due course of time, or if there is a lack in the users behavior of on the product by the customer. So how would you know about it? So you need to have a set of SOPs in place first of all. So for that, you need to understand what kind of customers you are dealing with. So and again, once you have the set of the customers already on the product, then you also need to derive the journey of the customer from where you start until where you want to take it. So for me, in Docsumo, what I believe is that I want to make my customer an advocate of my product,
Yes.
who can actually speak on behalf of my product to any other customer, who can say and vouch for us that yes, we have done something and we have actually built a solution in the market and we are the best in the market. So that is my end goal with a customer. And that's what I believe, the journey should always be mapped. That should be your end goal. Of course, I know that not 100% of your customers should can be made an advocate. There would be churns in between, there would be some saddening part, like they're not happy with the customers, their satisfaction would not be up to the mark. So all those things that matters for you to take your organization ahead, in terms of with respect to the customer success, you need to have a proper SOPs in place for that. How would you react to all those instances? So that is the first part that you do when you start building from scratch. Once you have everything ready, then you start building your team. And
Yeah.
on building your team, the most important thing here is to look for what kind of people you want
Yes.
in the organization. They would be people usually it's a very common thing in SaaS ecosystem. When people look for someone who has a sense of ownership. Same as with me. That's the primary objective that I look for in any person while hiring for a customer success. So I look for a sense of ownership, like the person should be, that capable that he can take ownership of end-to-end, subject.
Mhm.
Now, when I think end-to-end customer success, I am not pointing out that, okay, you should be able to do a managerial task or you should be able to do the director level of task being on an associate level. I do understand there is a hierarchical positioning, that always exists in customer success, like from associate to just being the manager, then become the senior customer success manager, principal customer success manager, VP directors, and then the CEO of the company. So that's a different route to take. But yes, what I understand is that if tomorrow your manager is absent, then do you have any idea, like, can you just be a substitute for him or not? That sense of ownership, do you own it or not? Do you
Yeah.
look forward to have that customer centricity, inside you or not? So that is the primary objective that I look for, in any person when hiring for the customer success. Second thing is more on an empathy side. Like, I want the person to be able to understand and keep yourself in the customer's shoe to understand what is the pain they are going through.
Mhm.
Because once you are able to feel it, then you are able to communicate it to your internal team as well. Not every issue is not in your hand that you will be able to solve. You will have to go through a lot of cross functional collaborations with the other team members as well. So the same empathy has to go and passed on to the other members as well. They should also understand that problem. For
Mhm.
me, I always say that for me it could be the 50th problem that I am dealing with in a day, but for the customer it could be his first problem.
Yeah.
So we have to be that empathetic for the customer and make them trust on you, and you should also have that sense of understanding the problems, so that you build a very strong relationship. That is the second objective that I look into. Then coming in the sequence, like, communication skill, of course, having a very excellent verbal and written communication skill that effectively conveys information and interact with the customers. Communication gap is something, that affects the relationship a lot, that creates a huge problem. So having this communication skill is very important. Then problem solving ability is something that I look up to for any person, when I'm hiring. uh, when I say problem solving ability, I am not looking forward for a person who can always provide me a solution.
Mhm.
Not that can never be a necessity for me. But what I think is, like, the person should have that, creative and strategic thinking process. Always he should, the presence of mind, how he can, strategize things, how he can, be creative on a problem solving ability. You might receive an email where you notice that the tone of the email is like, that completely says that the customer is, really pissed off.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, you don't need to be very reactive to it. You need to understand why is he why has he reacted that way. You need to first empathize it, and then do a good communication, and then look for problem solving. So that kind of creativity and strategic thinking that I look for. And then having a little technical proficiency. I do understand customer success is not on a lot on the technical side of the things. However, having a technical proficiency is always an add-on advantage.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because
and
you have to be able to know what they want, right?
exactly,
It's kind of like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
exactly,
how can you provide a solution to the problem if you don't understand the product, right? That's the problem.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And then always having a good understanding of the product, to all of the service that you are, working with. Uh, it's something, a kind of a knowledgeable resource and a support and guidance for the customers as well. Like, they also feel like, okay, they're in the safe hand. Your CSM is somebody who can actually deal with the problem. So if you're having that technical proficiency, so that is what is the another factor that I look into. And then having an analytical skills, like, previously also, as we discussed, like, having those metrics in place to predict a lot of things, customer behavior patterns, and then deriving out some actionable, outcomes from there, like, what should be the next series of actions. So that analytical skills that I look for. And the last one is your collaboration ability. Like,
Yeah.
how well you can collaborate internally with the cross-functioning team, maybe with sales, marketing, product, or your engineers. How well. And collaboration, it doesn't just limit to, like, you got a problem, you just give it to them. No, you need to explain them. You need to also make them realize that what is the pain that the customer is going through.
Mhm.
How you prioritize things. It is completely based on how impactful the issue is for a business of the customer.
Mhm.
And the same needs to be you have to make your other members understand the same thing. They
Yeah.
may have their own sprint running, they may have their own series of tasks. So how would they prioritize in their daily operations? That is your duty to manage that. So that collaboration ability that I look up to. Then you have a team, and then you start the work, and that's how you gradually build. And then next set of challenges you will encounter, uh, customers dropping off, and then sometimes there's an expansion coming up. So these are the other set of things that you get while building the customer success from scratch. So once you have built a good team, then you are at least 70% sorted.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I have a couple of questions about this
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm just wondering, as somebody who's sort of like, sees maybe, I imagine, you hire people who are a bit more experienced, but maybe you hire people who are a little bit more junior as well.
yeah.
Just wondering, like, what are the kind of most common misconceptions and maybe mistakes that you see people make when they first enter this kind of field?
Yeah. So this concept, see, I have dealt with a couple of situations on those grounds, in the initial days. So when a CS person enters, the clarity of this thing not being just a support operation, then more than that is a basic requirement for somebody who is transitioning, or starting from very initial in customer success. That is one of the biggest problem. Like and always having that gene to learn something is a big requirement in customer success. You will be dealing with a lot of things. Like for example, I would say, these days, AI is coming into picture. With Gen AI, a lot of problems are getting solved. There's a lot of buzz around that this might take up a job of a lot of people. AI is not going to take up your job. The person who's dealing with AI can take your job. Okay.
Yeah.
So your enthusiasm to learn new technology should always be there. And I have noticed that for the initial people, a lot of people doesn't believe in that. They have a set of SOPs. They just want to follow that 10 to 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thing, and they just want to go away and forget about things. Uh,
Yeah, because
for
I
a-
get, sorry, go on.
yeah. So for a healthy work life balance, yes, that is important. I do appreciate that behavior. It should always happen, but you should always be reactive to the business requirements. If you want to learn, if you want to have that sense of ownership, which is I see is lagging, in the initial phase, in any of the CS guy. So if you want to have those kind of things, you need to be enthusiastic about new learnings, having a sense of ownership, trying to follow the SOPs, always be flexible with the business requirement. These are the kind of things I see as a challenge there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we touched a little bit on AI there.
Yeah,
That was going to be my next question. I want to dig into a little bit like, I guess you can sort of get a sense of where you think customer success is going
yeah,
in the future. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talking about what AI is going to be able to do in terms of customer success. And one of the things people say is that, like, so it's going to be able to basically kind of take on the more reactive role, basically, while customer success managers or whoever it is are able to kind of, I guess, deal with more complex customer problems and come up with more complex solutions. You sort of have, because I imagine like customer success people, like they sometimes they get a bit overburdened with just so many kind of requests and so many kind of issues that like maybe could be solved very quickly, that maybe they can't then put their energies into coming up with more creative solutions or solving more complex problems. I'm just eager to hear what your take is on this and where you see customers, where you're seeing it going, where you're seeing it evolving currently, what your
see,
predictions are.
yeah, of course. Like, see, I think addition of this AI, coming into picture is a good thing only. I would take it in a very positive way. Yes, there is something called digital customer success that has come into picture right now. These days people are a lot talking about digital customer success. So what it is, I'll tell you exactly. So basically, uh, let's start from the very beginning. How AI would what on and how the AI would do in customer success. So
Mhm.
AI approach would be more based on a few cases that have already been done, that we have already encountered, right? AI cannot just come up figuring out a solution, for something that is coming for the first time. AI will always be based on the previous experiences that people might have gone through, and the system, on which it has been trained upon. Like there
Mhm.
are 10 cases that the AI will just run it up to see, like, where there is a match, and then they will provide a solution, right? So on those grounds, right, where you have to write an email to a customer, where you want to set the tone of the tone of the email for a customer, that's where you might reduce your time with the help of AI. If the problem is already existing, and you do not have a context about it, AI can help you derive a few solutions, on top of it, and you can definitely decide on, like, how do you want to move ahead with, and what solutions you want to move ahead with. But if there is a new problem that has come up for the first time in the world, like nobody has gone through it, never ever, then AI may fail. AI can try giving you a solution, but this artificial intelligence cannot be up to the mark in terms of strategizing, a resolution in a real time scenario. This
Yes.
can even fail. So that is one like kind of a drawback that I see here with the AI. One of the things that may happen is, like, if you have especially for the B2C segment, when you may have KPO or BPO kind of thing running, when you have 1000 people uh, going on a call cannot be I don't think I don't see it as a solution right now with AI, right? In the current ecosystem. However, this can be a solution moving ahead. Maybe just after a year or 6 months. Also, I can guarantee these days. The way the tech is developing these days, with the pace, it can happen anytime. But especially with the chat system and the email systems, yes, it can replace human, to a bit, but still, to figure out the accuracy of the solutions that is being provided, we still need a human to, supervise the AI.
Yeah. Well, also, like you said, I
Yeah,
guess AI is trained on human knowledge, isn't
yeah,
it? So
yeah,
we need human beings to come up with solutions for these problems before AI can be trained on it. And
yeah,
then when we encounter these problems again, that's where it comes into play. That's what you're saying. But I guess we're going back to what you were saying before, that like somebody AI cannot operate unsupervised because it's trained on human knowledge. That's
yeah,
that's the point, isn't it? Like it's not, so it's never going to get to a point where it can replace us because AI doesn't exist without the knowledge that we feed into it, essentially, is what you're saying. I think people think of it as being like magic, like it just has its own mind and it just thinks of things on itself. Like they don't realize that, like you said, like, it's only as good as what you give it, isn't it?
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing, ultimately. I
So,
think I think I think a lot of people think of it like Terminator, like we're gonna have robots like coming through the street and like taking over humanity.
absolutely, like, I think that those days are not so far. We will start getting those
Oh, don't say
autonomous.
that. Don't say that. Yeah.
I'm really curious, though I come from an engineering background, a little bit I understand about it, but then still I'm really curious about understanding the algorithm behind it, like how this entire training things happen in AI, and I don't know. I am not looking forward to build something on top of it, but yes, I just want to know, like, what is the strategy behind it, how things are going on, so progressive on even on the accuracy and the precision level. I want to know about it. So that's a part probably in my bucket for my research right now. So I will not speak not more on that part, but yes, AI would be kind of a revolution.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? Everyone's kind of in a state of uncertainty about it. We just all know, and I think there's been like any new development, like there's a lot of excitement and there's a lot of fear. Like, but that's like with anything new, isn't it? Anything new in technology, there's excitement and there's fear. But
Mhm.
I tend to go on the side of optimism. I tend to think like, this is going to be a tool that we
Yeah.
can use to do our jobs better is what I think and hope. You know?
Oh, so I'll tell you one more thing. I mean, good you pointed out this thing that there's a lot of, fear and everything about this job thing with customer
Yeah.
success with the AI coming into the picture. I just want to say this to all the customer success professional all across the globe that please don't get, don't be worried about these things. Trust me, you go on a renewal call, the AI can send an automated response to the customer, but for enterprises, for a mid-size SMBs, like there is always a scope of negotiation on every pricing. AI can't do that. You need
Yeah.
a human for that. You always need a human for that. Making a contract, you can have an automated process, but changing things as per the customer's requirement on a very scalable options. There is a AI can still do that, but then there is a huge scope of error, and human intervention would be always required there. Uh, this was just about renewal and everything. On the adoption side of things, you can always set up rules for triggering expansions, triggering churns, to you via some emails or something as a trigger. The AI can do that, but making strategies on how you deal with it, as a next plan of action, the next set of actions for you. AI can still provide you the SOP, but AI cannot perform that. Like they can only send you email, they can only send the emails to the customers. Still, somebody as a human would be needed to come on a call and talk about expansion, talk about upsell, talk about cross sell, do the negotiations again, set up the accounts. For that, AI would always be required.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you
for that,
can't you
a human
can't
would
create
always be required.
deep
Yeah.
fakes, you know. It's really interesting actually. Like I was gonna say, like I think one of the things as well, even if AI can do it, the thing is, like I think humans we just feel safer and
Yeah.
more secure when we're talking to a human being, don't we? And
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way. I mean, the thing is, like AI can't feel and it can't think, and we know this. So I think it does in terms of your brand identity and how you want to like sort of I guess kind of represent your company to the world.
Yeah.
It's still important to have that human touch and human presence, isn't it? That's the thing. I think people want to put a face to the product, a human face, don't they? And know that there's people there who actually care and are actually thinking about the customer, don't they, ultimately?
Absolutely, absolutely. There is one simple example that I can quote here is in
Yeah.
terms of customer engagement, you might have received a lot of emails from any product that you may have subscribed to or may have purchased from Amazon. Okay,
Mhm.
now in promotion of that, you would be getting a lot of emails. And trust me, after 5 emails, every Wednesday around this time, you will be getting this email where the tone of the email would be this, and where they would be promoting this in this way, and the language of the email completely end to end. You would definitely know about it. Why? Because it's a repetition. It sounds like a robotic answer that is coming from the other side, right?
Yes, yeah.
And all you look for a personalized conversation at the same point of time from the same product. If some human just writes to you like, hey Anthony, how's it going? I just saw your Instagram pictures. You were somewhere on the beach. I saw you enjoying there. How was things there? And absolutely just talking about your holidays and everything. Your eyes will be caught up there, and you will pay attention to it, and you will feel like reacting back to it or
Yes.
writing back to it. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's where the personalized conversations and interactions come into picture. So AI can be robotic and try to be humanized, but not up to that level where a human can actually do. uh, Still not questioning or not pointing commenting anything on the accuracy of an AI as of now. As I was saying, the pace of the development is too high these days. Anything happen in the next 6 months, but yes, the human intervention will be there.
That's the worrying thing, isn't it? Like I did a video recently on our channel where
Yeah.
I was comparing different AI tools and I was talking about ChatGPT and I was talking about Gemini and I was talking about Claude.
Yeah.
And instantly, I was talking about how ChatGPT can only handle text-based prompts, and then instantly the next day, GPT 4.0 comes out and suddenly it can respond to audio. And I was like, oh God, I've done this video saying this and already it's dated. Already there's an update, it
Yeah,
makes this is the problem with that kind of content, it's like it just
exactly. Yeah. But I must say, GPT 4.0 is very interesting.
yeah, yeah.
I personally like that. Like the way, a few things that they have changed, in the algorithm as well as on the UI side of the things. I think it's good.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a video where they were getting it to the guy was getting it to talk to his dog.
Yeah,
So it was sort of like, oh, what a cute dog, the AI. And it's like that kind of freaked me out a little bit because it was like the emotions sounded quite real. And
yeah,
that's the scary thing, isn't it? Like you were saying, like, I think you would still know it wasn't a person,
yeah,
maybe, but it's
yeah.
getting closer and closer to mimicking emotion, which
Absolutely.
is just really, really scary, I think. But anyway, let's finish by circling back to customer success.
Yeah.
We only have a few minutes left, so let's just again, I want to go back to the future.
Mhm.
Let's just end by talking. Can you list maybe, I don't know, three developments that you see changing the face of customer success, maybe in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think one of the thing that I can think of is with the revolution of AI, things would be even more streamlined.
Hmm.
Uh, Second thing, though we already have CRM tools and CS tool in place, we still see a gap in the market. I think a big revolution would be coming up there as well because since I've been interacting with a lot of people, I know that there are a lot of development in progress right now. So yes, definitely on those terms, a kind of like a one-stop shop that you look for, that you just land upon one tool and you are able to cater to everything on just one space. So that thing was done in early 2000 by Salesforce, and after that, everyone is trying to build something, on those parts, but there is always they have to keep some scope for integrations with some other party tools. So I'm looking forward to have those kind of those type of tool development coming up in the market soon. uh, so that would be second one. And third one that I can see is more on the side of the engagement with the customers. These days, on the community also, I have heard a lot of people speaking on those terms, a lot of things are getting, a kind of robotic, like what we were just talking about, kind of responses that is coming up. So I don't know how this will be done, but I look forward to those developments where people would be moving toward the automated response, or yeah, strategizing things on a deeper scale to make this customer engagement thing and make it to bring it to just a broader level. So these three things that I can think of right now, two that I know of, and third are just I am just kind of thinking of having this.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a great prediction. Yeah, and I think it makes sense that that is a problem that we're encountering, is like robotic responses,
Yeah,
both because of the development of AI, like you said, and also just the sheer volume of SaaS companies now. I
yeah,
guess that are, maybe having to, maybe some not of the best standard, that are basically just taking this kind of technology and using it for
yeah,
customer support, customer success, and maybe getting it wrong.
yeah,
I think it makes sense that that's a problem, and I think the companies that really rise to the top will be the ones that manage to get over that,
yeah,
and manage to come up with a solution where they can deal with the amount of customers that they have, the amount of users, but also manage to sound authentic, right? And sort of like they're there for the customer. Yeah, 100%. Well, thanks so much for this. This has been a great conversation. I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, great. If people want to reach out to you, if they want to hear more from you about, like, about this particular field, how should they reach out?
They can reach out to me on my email address, vishalarya92@gmail.com. They can drop me a direct email, or they can also find me on LinkedIn. Just drop me a just drop me a DM on that part, where we can just have a personal conversation, set up a meeting, and talk about any topics. On that grounds, I just want to say you for a session. It's free of cost. I don't charge for it. So just go for it. Let's schedule a meeting and let's talk about it.
Great. Yeah. I think people, after hearing this, are really going to want to pick your brains about various things. Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anthony. I mean, I'm glad that I could be a part of this, podcast here with you. And pleasure is all mine. I'm always looking forward to have such kind of conversation.
Yeah, certainly. Till next time.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of SaaScast. For more top insights from the leading minds in SaaS, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a thing.